Hey everyone, what's up and welcome back to my channel. It's Josh, and oh my gosh, has it been forever since we have been here together doing a watch video. I really want to apologize to you guys for that though, because I know a number of you have been waiting for this and have been, messaging me asking when I would be uploading it. So without further ado, today we are talking about my brand new Longines Legend Heritage Diver. Some of you guys know I did get this about a month and a half ago, as I'm sure you can tell in the B-roll and even kind of looking at it up here, just kind of closely up here. I have had it for a month and a half, and I have been wearing the holy living crap out of it, so I've already got some scuffing and scratches, and I don't care about that. You guys know that. I have just been loving every minute of wearing this watch. Now, because this guy is about 10 or 15 years old, and it has been out, and there are 2 million other videos out there about it, today what I wanted to do was kind of just do a quick hits and quick misses video with you guys, and really just give you my kind of overall first impressions on this watch, and how I've been wearing it, and how it's been wearing for me. So let's go ahead and dive in and just start with what I like about this watch, and there's so much to love about this piece. It is... I have trouble finding superlatives for it, because it is just such an incredible watch to behold. It is just as stunning, in my opinion, in the hand and on the wrist as it is in the pictures. This, in my opinion, is one of the most cohesive watches that you can buy today at any price point. And what I mean by cohesive is this guy is so beautifully designed. Just every surface, every facet of it, no matter how you're looking at it, what angle, what piece, everything just works on this particular watch. And even the two kind of like bracelet and strap options that you can get this guy on from Longines, I think really work with the overall design. And while I think that they are both great, for me personally, it had to go on a leather strap. So I did take off the sailcloth, but I would happily switch back to it if I were to take this guy, into the water or something like that. Now, moving on, since we're looking at this guy, let's take a closer look at the dial here, and I have to say that the whole dial and bezel combination here, again, no words, no superlatives that appropriately describe how beautiful this thing is, and it's probably even not coming out as great on camera as it does in real life. This is a stunning, absolutely stunning dial and bezel. One thing I really like about the way that Longines did this is that they actually did do a full glass dial, and so what that means is that we have we have a reflective surface. It is black glass. It is so deep. It is so rich. No matter what light you're looking at it in, you're still going to get those deep, deep, deep blacks. It's like liquidy. It's inky black, and it just, the markings on the dial pop in contrast to it. It's actually very similar to my Omega Seamaster. You guys know that is my my daily beater. I love that watch, and my favorite thing about my Omega Seamaster is that glass dial that it also has, because again, the blacks are so deep and so rich, and what that does is it makes the indices on the Omega just pop, because they are bright and they are white. And again, the same thing is true of this Longines Legend Diver as well. Now, while we're looking at the dial here, one thing that I think doesn't get said often enough when people are reviewing this watch, either in a video or an article, is genuinely, this watch does so much with so little. And what I mean is, if we look at the dial here, okay, nothing on here is actually applied. Everything is just printed or painted, or, there's nothing raised off the dial. And so what it does is it creates what would ordinarily be a very flat, very kind of basic and almost kind of boring look, and yet contrasted with again, all that detail, all the depth, all the shine off of the bezel and the dial, creates a really, really nice contrast, and nothing on here feels out of place. Even the date window, and I know a lot of purists are fans of the Legend without the date window, but I actually think that because it doesn't look out of place, and Longines paid so much attention to how they implemented it, it fits into the overall design. Even the date itself is in the same kind of khaki, beigey, tan kind of color, so they didn't just stick a generic date dial in there with, like white markings, for example. Even though it's there, even though I know some people don't like it, I actually love it because it is just so well integrated that it works with this design. The other thing I want to call out on the dial, as we're talking about design and color and everything like that, I don't know how many people notice it, and again, this is something that I haven't seen pointed out nearly as much as I think it should be, but on the face of this watch, we actually have 5 different typefaces, which, when you think about that, really let that sink in. I don't think that there are any other watches out there that can pull it that off so successfully. And what I mean by that is for the bezel, we've got 15, 30, and 45 in one font. We've got 12, 6, and 9 in another. We've got the date, and then we've got the Longines word and the automatic. And again, even though all of this is so different, each piece is so different, it all comes together and it works together just beautifully. And so, again, overall cohesivity of this watch is just phenomenal. Okay, if we go ahead and flip this guy over here, let's take a look at the back really quickly, and you can see we've got a nice polished case back here. I actually really like that Longines didn't, again, try to modernize it with an exhibition case back. I could totally have seen them doing that, though, and so, again, I'm really glad that they didn't. I like that we have Legend Diver here. It looks like it is in Accidents Grotesque or Helvetica. Look that up if you don't know what those are. My favorite part about the back of this case, though, is actually the little diver guy that we've got here in the middle. I don't know how evident it is in pictures or even in this video, but it's got such a nice contrast, and the relief of it is so beautifully done because the engraving around him, right, is actually kind of like a sandblasted, bead-blasted matte texture to the stainless steel, and then his relief is actually polished back over to match the rest of the case. And so as we handle it here, you can see how he picks up reflection a lot differently than, the background that he's on, and you get some really nice inverted colors as you're looking at this guy in different light. Let me go ahead and put this on and show you guys what it looks like on the wrist. And one thing I really, really like about this watch is how comfortably it wears, which is something that I think maybe not everybody agrees on. I've read a lot of articles and, watched videos where people have said that this guy feels like it's a lot bigger than 42 millimeters and it wears really large. But for me personally, I have between 6 3/4 and 6 5/8 inch wrists. And for me, it doesn't feel like a full 42 or 42.5 millimeters on the wrist. It really wears nicely. I think part of it is because it's relatively lightweight for a modern diver that can go down to 300 feet of pressure. But also I think the overall, the presentation of it, the way that the package, just how it's packaged, something does not, to me, make this feel like 42 millimeters. And as a result, I can wear this quite comfortably all day long, from morning to night, and I could probably wear this 24 hours a day and not be uncomfortable in any way with it. I think the only complaint, if I had one, and it's a really nitpicky one with the size, is that the crowns are quite pronounced on the right side here, and if you tend to, like me, wear your watches kind of close to your wrist, like right on your wrist cuff, they can kind of dig into your arm or into your hand, the back of your hand, but that's pretty easily remedied by just pushing the watch up a little bit, and even then, it's not uncomfortable at all. Now, as many people have pointed out, we do have these kind of oversized lugs. They're really, really quite long. I don't know why Longines decided to do that. I think they could have shortened them by about 25% and it still would have been fine. Again, for me, with my wrist size, not a big deal, but I can see somebody with a really narrow wrist, this would, right, I am north to south, I am pretty much maxed out for my wrist size, and for somebody with like 6.5 and under wrists, I could imagine this, protruding out further than their wrist and kind of creating an uncomfortable situation there because the bracelet wouldn't sit nicely on your wrist that way. But for me, it works great. I think anybody who's got wrists my size or larger will be perfectly happy with it. And yeah, overall, just a super comfortable watch to wear. Now, part of that does come from the leather strap that I've got on here, and let me pull all this down and show it to you in detail. So you guys know I love Hodinkee leather. This is one of their Italian calfskin straps. It is so beautifully done. Hodinkee leather is all really, really incredible stuff. Highest quality, handmade in Italy. They're all unique because, they're not treated in any way to make them look or feel a certain way. They are just cut from a piece of the finest quality top grain leather. This guy in particular, again, I will link down in the description below to this specific model that you can buy from Hodinkee. Can you see here how soft and supple this thing is? It is almost as comfortable as a good silicone dive strap. I mean, that is how it's so malleable, it's so soft, it molds to your wrist over time as you wear it. It's incredible, and I think this strap will last for probably the better part of I don't know, 5 to 10 years. And as it gets more worn in, it will just patina into a beautiful, I'm hoping it gets a little bit darker, but into a beautifully dark patinaed raw leather. I just, it's so delicious. It's so beautiful. So anyway, Hodenki leather strap, Legend Diver, love it to pieces. Super, super comfortable watch to wear. Again, I no superlatives. I can't tell you guys. I can't even express how much I love this. Yeah, it's just beautiful. Now, that's not to say that this guy is without its downsides, and I do want to get into that because I think that there are some pretty big flaws with this watch, and some that you should definitely know and keep in mind if you are going in on a purchase on one of these guys. The first one to me is kind of the overall design of the case and its finish. And I know I just went on for how many minutes about how beautiful this whole thing is. And it is spectacular. It is absolutely gorgeous. However, one thing about this watch that's kind of surprising, given that this is a sport watch, it's a diver, is that there are no brushed surfaces or matte surfaces on this watch. Every single surface is polished. The crystal is this beautifully polished, sapphire box crystal. The sides are, perfectly polished. The back is all polished with the exception of the little center cap here. But what that means is as you are wearing this guy in, it picks up a ton of grease and a ton of smudges and fingerprints and everything like that. And even as I'm touching it here, I have had to, as I've been filming this guy, after every shot, I have had to polish it up, take a microfiber cloth and give it a good polish, because when this guy starts picking up smudges from your fingers, just kind of grime in your everyday life, if you're washing your hands or whatever, it can start to get kind of hazy. And when it does, I don't know if you can, I've tried to keep it pretty clean for this video, but trust me when I say, when this crystal especially starts getting smudges from your fingers and that sort of thing, it gets hazy and it takes away from some of the, again, just the super fine polished details, and you lose out, I think, on some of the really beautiful reflections that you get when this crystal is completely and perfectly polished. Likewise, as you guys, I'm sure, have seen in the B-roll, mine definitely has gotten scratched and scuffed along the sides. As you guys know, when I am wearing a watch, I tend to stack it with a bracelet. It does hit the side of the watch, and as you can tell, I do have quite a bit of scuffing and just kind of like hairline, hazy scratches on mine already that, you can see it here and and here and there. And so personally, it's not a big deal that, it collects a lot of smudges and scratches and fingerprints and all this sort of thing. But if you are one of those people who, kind of can be OCD about those types of things, it is definitely something to consider before you go into this purchase, because I don't think, to be honest with you, I don't think that there's a way to wear this watch where it won't get scratched and smudged, and I just don't think, because it is fully polished, I don't think that there's a way to prevent that, and there's no surface on this watch that nicely hides that either. So again, not a deal breaker for me, but definitely something to consider if you do get kind of worked up about that sort of thing. And then finally, my last kind of downside with this watch is probably going to be a little bit controversial, and that is the price. I'm not alone. I know I'm not alone because I've talked to people about this, but I don't think that this guy is worth $2,400. And I'm just going to be, straight up and honest about that. I don't think it's worth the asking price. This guy on the sailcloth strap, I believe, is actually only $2,350 or something like that. But, still the better part of $2,400 once you factor in your, VAT or tax, probably up around $2,500, $2,600 at retail. And I don't think that that's worth it. It's a great watch, and I know that there are a lot of people out there who feel like at $2,400, this is a real bargain, and in some ways it is. But when you look at the competitive marketplace today, there are a lot of great reissues, a lot of great, vintage style pieces out there that do what this guy does better for less. In particular, I'm thinking about my Seiko SBDC 051 and then my Tissot Heritage 1948 automatic chronograph. These guys are both beautiful watches, stellar performers, built to last a lifetime. The Seiko here can be found for anywhere between $800 and $1,000, and then the Tissot chronograph retailed, I think, for like $1,400, so a good $1,000 cheaper than the Longines Legend. And again, the Longines, of course, it is a better quality watch than that Tissot. Longines kind of sits above Tissot in the Swatch portfolio, but the Tissot is such a bang for the buck, and it's a chronograph, and it's got that beautiful, again, it's a very faithful reissue, much like the Legend Diver, that I don't know that $2,400, $1,000 more for the Longines is worth it, personally. And I would highly recommend, again, for those of you who are in the market for this, bide your time, be patient, wait for a sale, wait for a promo code, wait for something, because you can find this guy from time to time on a pretty large discount. Like I said, I bought mine about a month and a half ago, so unfortunately the sale that I bought mine on is no longer going on. I bought mine from Bloomingdales. They were doing some kind of crazy 40% off watches and that kind of thing, so that brought it to, I want to say that brought it down to about $1,390 or something like that, about $1,400, so $1,000 off the retail price of this item. And I saw that, and I couldn't pass that up, because while, again, I don't think it's worth the full asking price, I definitely think it's worth anywhere between, $15,000 or $1,500 and $1,800 maybe US. Swatch, at least here in the United States, Swatch Group products as a whole, Tissot, Longines, Hamilton, Mido, they're always going on sale from Macy's, from the big retailers, the big department stores. So Macy's, Bloomingdale's, Saks Fifth Avenue, Nordstrom. You can always either find them on sale, or there's a promo code that applies to them, or something like that. So the smart shopper, I think the smart money, will wait for a sale, will get a promo code, will find it in that way, and they will get it for a lot less than somebody who goes and buys it right from Longines, or right from, like a jewelry store that carries Swatch. One thing I do want to mention before we wrap it up here is, if you happen to notice on the screen grab there from my purchase, Bloomingdale's not only was doing 40% off, but they were also doing like a Power Points thing with their Loyalist points, which are, as you collect enough Loyalist points, you get kind of cashback or store credit to use, like gift credit to use for a future purchase. So on top of this guy being only $1,400 out of pocket, I also, from this purchase, got a $350 Loyalist kind of gift credit or points credit. And I used that to buy another watch that I have been coveting for ever and a day. And I've got it here. I'm going to do a video on it. This is my brand new Casio G-Shock Full Metal Square. Some people are probably having a heart attack right now, because this is not any kind of fine watchmaking or anything like that, but I have wanted this guy forever and a day. I finally have it, and I basically got this for free with my purchase of the Longines Legend, which is absolutely insane. So you guys, the deals, the COVID deals, the economy is crashing deals are out there. They are fantastic, and I just love my new G-Shock. So anyway, video to come on this. Thank you for watching my video on this. Yeah, it's just a great watch. I highly recommend it for anyone out there who might be thinking about it. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching another video. I will talk to you guys soon. I hope you are staying safe and healthy. Keep an eye out for my G-Shock video, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.